Hello bandits. With thanks to the folks at North Beach and Free Range Games, we've been picking up our axes, growing our beards and heading into their survival crafting title, Lord of the Rings Return to Moria. This one is currently available on PC via the Epic Games Store, but will be coming to PS5 and Xbox Series consoles in the near future. Players will create their own unique dwarf character and delve deep into the heart of Khazad-dûm. This one is playable alone or with friends, allowing you to tame the depths and reclaim the lost treasures of Moria. In true survival crafting style, players will need to harvest and collect resources and build their own homesteads as they traverse fathoms deep down into Dwarodelf. There are also, of course, a large number of enemies down in the mines, including orc hordes, which mean players will have to balance how much noise they make against the risk of attack. As well as scouring for resources to build and craft, players will also find and restore monuments, collect artifacts and discover a number of nods to the franchise. Above all, players will be crafting their way to retake their homeland and once again find your way back to your fellow dwarven companions. Lord of the Rings Return to Moria is rated by PEGI at 12 and above and by the ESRB as T for Teen. There is some violence here, but apart from a small amount of blood while fighting wild creatures, there is nothing huge to note. When players or enemies die, they simply disappear, but there are some fear elements to consider with large spiders and some traditional Tolkien orcs, as well as quaffing of alcohol, as you would probably expect from dwarfs. Overall, for our parents' guide, this one is getting a rating of mostly harmless as long as you're okay with predominantly bloodless combat. Important to keep in mind though that there is online interaction, so do ensure young people are protected through lockdown parental controls. And with that stacked up, onto the rundown, our 5-point rating for Lord of the Rings Return to Moria. Gameplay 3. There are some decent survival crafting mechanics here, but progression and exploration simply feels far too linear. We'd have loved to have more complex and free routes through Khazad-dûm rather than the grid system we've got here. Crafting and survival elements do work fairly well, but combat is fairly uninspiring and Moria can't seem to decide if it wants players to explore or to make a home. Visuals too. Sadly, while the dwarf creation models do look good, environments and enemies are incredibly dated. Dwarven architecture seems to repeat often, and while animations themselves are decent, lighting, camera angles and overall visual quality could do with some work. Audio 5. It is great to have John Rhys-Davies back voicing Gimli, and there are some brilliant soundtrack elements as well. Effects are decent, and unlike the environments we've travelled through, we've not noticed significantly high repetition in callouts. The singing while mining does have some songs which fall a little bit flat, but overall the audio might be the best bit of Moria. Narrative 3. There is a ton of lore in-game, from finding movie set pieces to notes left by Gandalf. The return of Gimli into the game also helps to provide a link between the books and films and this new 4th Age setting. Replay 3. Procedural generation does mean that there is a new Moria to discover every time you start or join a new world. However, the exceptionally linear progress means that you're mostly going over the same solutions and finding very similar buildings and locations. Overall, our Pixel Bandits, that's no orc horn, level for Lord of the Rings Return to Moria is an entirely average 5 out of 10. As a huge fan of the franchise, I've been really looking forward to getting involved with Return to Moria. Sadly, fairly linear routes seem to try and keep things on the straight and narrow rather than promoting exploration. Moria does have some really nice features, and if you're playing with friends or other players, it does pick it up a little. Sadly, however, the need to keep resetting up camp and transporting valuable resources in order to explore further severely hampers things. Return to Moria isn't a bad title, and the mechanics are fairly solid for the most part, but it is one which sadly hasn't made me passionate about getting back into it. As ever, to provide our review and our common sense parents guide, we received a free copy of Lord of the Rings Return to Moria from the folks at North Beach Games. And that's all we've got for you today. Check out the extended review at pixelbandits.org for more information on this one. If you found this helpful, a like, comment, share or follow might not cost you anything, but it really goes a long way to helping Pixel Bandits remain ad-free and independent. Either way, we hope to see you again very soon. Thanks for watching.